welcome back to Snark and Spark. My name is Emily, and it has been a long time. So, all I'm going to cover this video, short and sweet, is my May TBR, or to be read books. I've got a couple things that I want to accomplish, and I just realized I didn't bring one of the books with me to show you. So, hold on. Okay, no time passed for you, but it did for me. So, I've got a couple prompts, things that I want to accomplish reading-wise for the month of May, and I just thought I would tell you my plans, and then I'll check in at the end of the month. I want to try a couple different things. I want to make little vlogs throughout the month as I'm reading, and then, yeah, we'll see. So, I have a list of things that I want to do. So, first and foremost, I think I talked about this a long time ago. It has become my mission to read through Stephen King's bibliography because he has written so much. He's so prolific. He's still writing. And I just want to work my way through his works. Yes, like as a whole. Also, don't mind this. This is my husband's sweater. It is cold here. It is chilly outside for May. It is chilly. So, next on my list, I kind of took a pause from it. I listened to it in 2022, and that was such a long book, and it was such a big book. There's just a lot happening there. So I've also put a pause on doing the Dark Tower series because when I read them, right now I'm going through his list of books, like published order. And with it being a series, so anything that is considered a series, I have pushed aside and will tackle at the end. So I'm doing all of the standalones, and then I will do like duologies. I'm thinking like, so like when I read The Shining, I believe there's now a second one. Isn't that Dr. Sleep is the second in that, like, I know there's like one that I've read what would be considered the first book, not realizing that it technically had a partner or whatever, and that's okay. If I know now that it has a partner, it gets pushed to the side and is now going to be like at the bottom of the list. But so, what I have next is Misery. I only know about it related to the movie. I've never seen it, but I feel like we all know of this Stephen King, that famous, what is her name? We all know that actress's name, but she's crazy. She's obsessed with her favorite author, and so she kidnaps him because she didn't like the way he wrote the ending to one of his books, I think, or she wants him to write another book. I'm kind of going into all of the Stephen King books a little blind, and I'm okay with that, because I am going to read them no matter what. So after Misery is the Tommyknockers. I don't necessarily think I'm going to get to both of them this month. I'm just mentioning both of them because I have put them both on hold, and whichever one is available first, I'm going to read, and then the next one. So that's why I mention the two of them, because I've put them both as audiobooks on hold. I like to listen to Stephen King. I'm not sure why. It definitely makes certain things a little creepy, but I do like to listen to Stephen King. If I have to read it, I will, but I definitely prefer to listen to it. Moving on, something that is happening, sorry, brain, are the Magical Stitches reading prompts. So for May, for this year, we are reading the Quilt, the Cross Country, no, that was the Elm Creek. So the series is the Elm Creek Quilters by Jennifer Giafforini. I can never pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. The last book I read was The Cross Country Quilters. The book, this month's book, I honestly can't tell you what it is. I gave up after March on the series. There is nothing wrong. I know a lot of people love the series. They are cute. They're cozy. They've got great characters. It's just not for me. At least not at this point in my life. I have enjoyed I have enjoyed them up until this point. I listened to the first 3, and then it just couldn't keep me engaged, and it became more of like a slog. And because I'd hit a slump with so many other things with my hobbies, with cross stitching, I really wasn't doing any other hobbies at all, like creative hobbies. It was a lot of just watching Critical Role, if you know what that is. It is a live show where people play Dungeons and Dragons. And that became my hobby. So I just hit a weird slump. But so I gave up on those books because they just aren't right for me right now. I am definitely in a, as you'll kind of see if I continue, I am in my, like, we'll call it horror era. I am all about those nitty gritty horror books right now. I'm in it to win it. I keep gravitating towards them. I don't know. I like the creepy, the crawly, the feeling unsettled. That's what I need right now, and that is where I'm following the dopamine, right? That is where the dopamine is leading me, is horror books, and I'm just going with it. I'm gonna read what I want to read. I guess you could also call me a mood reader right now, because that's how I'm feeling. So, like, for example, I just finished The Hunger by Alma Katsu, and it is a fictionalized telling of the Donner Party expedition. That was one of the April prompts for Magical Stitches, was to read a book about the American pioneers, the ones that traveled west. And so I picked this book because it's about the Donner Party. But of course, it's a horror novel, so there's a fictionalized retelling of the Donner Party, and of course, it's also Alma Katsu, and there is a supernatural, spooky, horrific twist. Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I finished the book just a couple days ago, and I was reading part of it at Caden's jiu-jitsu practice. And I wonder what the person, like, next to me thought I was reading, because at one point I had a very physical, visceral reaction to the book and went in the jiu-jitsu, like, studio. It was really funny. I realized later that I was, like, reacting, like, I was like, because something happened near the end of the book that I can't say I wasn't expecting, because we all know about the Donner Party and cannibalism and things like that. So I was expecting it, but it just was it, like, happened all of a sudden, and it was like, whoa! So that was fun. Anyways, moving on. So I have decided, because I'm just not feeling the Elm Creek Quilters, I'm leaving them behind. Maybe I'll come back to that series. Maybe I won't, and that's okay. But I am kind of still sticking with the prompts, because I like the prompts. So first up is Something Lacy on its cover. So I don't have the book, but I can show you a picture of the book that I think I'm going to read. It is a horror novel. It is called The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. This has popped up on my radar. Whoop. So those sleeves, there we go. The sleeves around the cuffs are kind of lacy. I'm going to count it. So I was drawing this in. Essentially, Jane marries somebody with the last name of Lawrence, and it is a marriage of convenience, not one of love, but on the condition that, like, she never shows up at his house. And of course, one night she does, and then bad things happen. I'm assuming she dies, since the book is called The Death of Jane Lawrence. Who knows? This next one I am struggling with. So if you have any suggestions, drop them down below. I'm finding it very hard to fulfill this prompt. It is to read a book that takes place during the 1930s. I am struggling. I went through all of my physical shelves. I don't think I have anything in here that counts. like, there's nothing on my bookshelves here at home. Like, I've got this right here that you can see. I've got a big one in my living room. I think I put it the wrong way. My living room is on the other side of that wall. And I can't find, I don't own any books that are set in the 1930s. I have books that take place, like, it's like I have 1800s, 1880s, early 1900s, like late 1800s, early 1900s, and then like post World War II and modern. I am like, I don't know why from like 1920s to like, I mean, there is post World War II, but like, I would say all the way, I have like one book, I should say, that is set like post World War II. From probably like 1920s until like modern books, I don't have anything. But I know I don't particularly care about books set in like 50s, 60s, 70s, 40s. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm never drawn to those books. I like really old shit or like current. So help me out if you have a book that will fit the parameters of taking place in the 1930s. Send it my way because I got nothing. And if I look up, I can find fiction set in the 30s and I'm like, doesn't sound good. So help me out. Thrillers, spooky, mysteries, maybe some Agatha Christie. I actually don't know, so help me out. And then finally, the main character is a bachelor. And I am going to read The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I believe my sister got me this book for Christmas, either this past year or the year before. But this has actually been on my like general TBR, like Goodreads list for a long time. I think since it got released. And I just opened the first to look at like this, and it just says, quite possibly the greatest feel-good story ever to involve the Antichrist. So that's amazing. I recognize the other authors that have like blurbed it. Book list. So I'm excited. But yes, this has been on my watch list for a while. I have it. I own a physical copy. I know that the main character, Linus Baker, is a by-the-book caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth. At 40, he lives in a tiny house with a devious cat and his old records for company. He's a bachelor. But his quiet life is about to change. Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and given a curious and highly classified assignment. Travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous magical children are so dangerous, in fact, that they're likely to bring about the end of days. When Linus arrives at that strangest of islands, he's greeted by a series of mysterious figures, the greatest mystery of which is Arthur Parnassus, the master of the orphanage. As Linus and Arthur grow closer, Linus discovers the master would do anything to keep the children safe, even if it means the world has to burn, or worse, his secret comes to life. The House in the Cerulean Sea is an enchanting love story masterfully told about the profound experience of discovering an unlikely family in an unexpected place and realizing that family is yours. So, I think there is some boy-on-boy love, which I'm not opposed to, so I'm excited to read this. And the last thing that is kind of new, because I'm riding the dopamine train all the way till I crash and burn, is I actually am inspired by, I saw someone else do this, a different booktuber do this, and it totally inspired me, and I love the idea, so I'm going to do it too, is to read the top 20 horror picks of 2022 according to Goodreads. So I pulled that list up. I looked at what was considered the top of horror for 2022. They give the top 20 nominees plus what won. And I'm going to read them from bottom to top. So at number 20 is The Fervor by Alma Katsu, which I have right here. I just got it from my library, from my job. And this already, I'm on like chapter 2, is already spooky. It's already amped up the creep factor, which I love. I'm in it. That sucks me right in. So this one is all about the horrors of the Japanese American internment camps in World War II. So I can honestly say I've never read anything about this. I know about it, I've learned about it, but I've never read a book dealing with it. And so this is set in 1944. Doesn't help for 1930s. As World War II rages on, the threat has come to the home front. In a remote corner of Idaho, Mako Briggs and her daughter Aiko, or it's Miko, but I think it's, I don't know, are desperate to return home following Miko's husband's enlistment as an Air Force pilot in the Pacific months earlier. Miko and Aiko are taken from their home in Seattle and sent to one of the internment camps in the Midwest. It didn't matter that Aiko was American-born. They were Japanese and therefore considered a threat by the American government. Mother and daughter attempt to hold on to the elements of their old life in the camp when a mysterious disease begins to spread among those interned. What starts as a minor cold quickly becomes spontaneous fits of violence and aggression, even death. And when a disconcerting team of doctors arrive, nearly more threatening than the illness itself, Miko and her daughter team up with the newspaper reporter and widowed missionary to investigate, and it becomes clear to them that something more sinister is afoot. A demon from the stories of Miko's childhood, hell-bent on infiltrating their already strange world. Inspired by the Japanese yokai and the Jorogumo spider demon, the fervor explores the horrors of the supernatural beyond just the threat of the occult. With a keen and prescient eye, Katsu crafts a terrifying story about the danger of demonization, a mysterious contagion, and the search to stop its spread before it's too late. A sharp account of too recent history, it's a deep excavation of how we decide who gets to be human when being human matters most. So, she's the author of The Hunger and the Deep, and I've read both of those and loved both of them. So, I'm really excited to read this. I think it'll be really interesting. Like I said, it has already started off with a bang, so I'm ready. That's all I've got. I hope to try and update throughout the month as I read different things, and we'll see. So I will talk to you all very, very soon. This is where I leave you. I'll talk to you. I just said I'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, be easy with your heart.